Hi guys, and welcome back to another brand new video. Today we are doing a crash course in Adobe Premiere Pro, going over everything that you need to know to start video editing. And I'm gonna start right now. So this is going to be an introductional video into Adobe Premiere Pro, and we're going to be going over the very basics. So if you've never used Adobe Premiere Pro before, or maybe you've downloaded it and maybe you've used it a couple times, but you're not sure how to import videos or how to add in transitions, then this is the video for you. I'm going to be going over how you can import videos, as well as how you can add in transitions, and also learning how to color grade. So what I recommend doing is going to the timestamps that you can see available here to skip to the part that will help you out most. So let's go ahead and jump onto Adobe Premiere Pro and start video editing. Right guys, to get started with this tutorial, simply go ahead and download Premiere Pro, then go ahead and open it up on your computer. And you should be displayed with this window. I'm using Premiere Pro 2024, and to actually start using it, we're going to need to create a new project. So what we're gonna do is go over to the left-hand side where you can see it says New Project. And we're gonna go ahead and open it up. Now you'll get a new window here. You'll need a product name. So I'm going to name mine Tutorial, and then you'll need to save it in a location. As you can see, I'm saving mine on my desktop. But if you want to change that, you can just simply go to this drop down here, go ahead to choose location, and you can save it anywhere you like. I'm just choosing my desktop for this example, but I would recommend saving it where it makes sense to you. So it may be next to your video assets, maybe make a folder for all of your video assets as well as videos, maybe save the project in there. And then once you've done that, all you need to do is simply go down and click create. And what you'll do is you'll be displayed with this window, and this is Premiere Pro. Now it may look different to you, and this is all to do with Premiere Pro's workspaces. We can change the workspace by simply going up to Windows, Workspaces, and as you can see, you've got a bunch of presets available. For this video, I'm going to be using the Effects workspace, but you can use Essentials. If you're maybe color grading, I recommend using color, or maybe you're adding in captions and graphics, or even adding in audio. You've got a bunch of these ones available. You can also save and create your own. So once you've moved them around, and once you're happy with the kind of formatting of where you want things to be, you can go ahead and simply go to Save as New Workspace. And then, as you can see, I've actually got one called James_1. So yeah, recommend moving it around until you're happy with where things are. It may take several attempts, but I must say getting the right workspace is really important, because Adobe Premiere Pro can do so much, from audio transitioning to video effects. You're gonna want the right kind of panels open at the right time, and which is quite nice with these workspaces. So if it doesn't look identical to me, just simply change your workspace. Now, what we'll need to do before we start actually editing videos, we're gonna need to import some videos. So what I recommend doing is going to your project title, which is this little square here, and then you want to go to your import media. To do that, simply double click. And what you'll do is you'll open it up with a dialog box. Go to where your video media is. So as you can see, I've got 3 folders here, one called audio, one called B-roll, and one called drone. And as you can see, I've got them in folders. You can import the individual files if you like, or you can actually import the individual folders. I like working in folders, so I'm gonna import these folders like so. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click import. And as you can see, these folders have now been imported, and we can actually go into the individual folders simply by double clicking. So I can go to my drone footage by double clicking, and as you can see, I've got my 3 individual drone clips here. Of course, if you're importing a lot of media, this may take several minutes, and sometimes it can take up to half an hour, depending on how much you're importing. I'm only importing 9 individual files, where if you're importing 900 files, I can imagine it taking a lot longer. Some of my really long videos sometimes takes up to 10 minutes to import. Again, it depends on the speed of your hard drive and everything like that, but this part, if you're importing a lot of files, could take some time. So just bear that in mind. And all you need to do is simply go back to your main tutorial folder where you've got all of these individual clips. Now, what we need to do now is to create a sequence. To do that, all you need to do is right click in this folder, go to New Item, and then you want to go to Sequence. Now what's nice is you can create a main sequence, then you can create smaller nested sequences inside. So if you're doing a lot of graphics in a small section of your video, you can create a nested sequence inside that, which we'll talk about in a bit. But to create our main sequence, it's basically going to be your frame rate as well as resolution. Now you've got a bunch of presets here. So for example, you've got 1080p at 23.976 frames per second. But what I like doing is actually dropping down to UHD 4K. Then I like selecting UHD 4K at 25 frames a second. If you'd still like to go into the settings of that, what you can do is go to the settings here and you've got a drop down. So for example, you can change your frame rate to anything you like from 60 frames per second all the way to 10 frames a second, as well as you've got your frame size. You've got your resolution here as well as your aspect ratio. And for me, I'm working in 16:9, but the rest of this, I'd pretty much recommend keeping the same. And once you're happy with that, all you need to do is go ahead and click OK. And as you can see now at the bottom here, you've got your timeline open. Now your timeline is going to be where you're actually going to create your video, where you're going to be adding videos, adding media, adding assets, as well as how you can add in transition and effects. Now before we do that, we need to drag some actual videos and some assets to our timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my B-roll folder here. I'm going to go ahead and click that open. And as you can see, we've got 3 individual clips. Now for this last clip here is just simply me getting out of the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on that window. And as you can see, it opens it up in a larger folder. Now it's up to you. You can drag the entire clip or you can drag a section of that clip. I like dragging in sections because I'm going to basically crop that section down anyway. Use this little cursor here to go to the part that you'd like most. So I'm going to go where I'm just getting out of the car. Then I'm going to go ahead and click this little icon here. This is our mark in icon. So basically we're not adding in any section of this video here. We're just adding in the last section. Then go to where I close the door. And I'm going to go to about here. I'm going to go to my mark out icon. So we're just going to add in this section of our video. Now you can add in the whole thing, or you can drag in video only, or drag in audio only. It's completely up to you. Obviously this is depending on if you captured audio at that time. What I'm going to do is click and drag that over my timeline. Now that looks really small because we are zoomed out. So what I recommend doing is zooming in on our timeline all the way until our clip looks a decent size. And as you can see, we've got our 5, 10, 15 and 20 second markers at the top here. And then all you need to do is you can see we can drag our cursor along our timeline. So what I'm going to do is zoom that in and I'm going to go ahead and just make that about there. And all you need to do is to actually play it back, simply press spacebar. And as you can see, we play it back like so. Now this is our main playback window. So we can actually see our entire clip through our playback. So this is our adding in media. This section here is our main timeline, and this is our playback screen. So what we want to do is add in more media. Again, what we want to do is go to our top section here. We want to go back to our B-roll, where our B-roll clips are, and we're going to add in another clip. So I'm going to add in this one here. I quite like the start of this clip, so I'm going to go ahead and add in. I'm going to go ahead and drag that over, and I might make this maybe about 5 seconds long. So I'm going to go to my 5-second mark, like so. Now to crop it, you've got all of your essential tools found on the left-hand side. The first tool here is your selection tool, and this can basically allow you to move clips around, move them on our layers. And then the next one you're going to be using is your razor tool. Now this is a really helpful tool for basically cropping and cutting your clips up. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to hover over the 5-second margin. So I'm going to go ahead and select 5 seconds. You can see this is our playhead position, which is found here. I'm going to go ahead and cut. And as you can see, it's now split into 2 different sections. So we've got our section A and section B. And if you want to delete that, go ahead and just simply click backspace. Now what's really important and something to definitely remember, you've got your layers here. So you've got layer V1, V2 and V3. It basically works very similar to Photoshop. So if you've ever placed anything above, you'll always refer to the one above that layer. And it works identical if you basically place it like so. So if it's above a layer, just think of it like laying bricks. Your first brick is going to be the one that you'll always see, the one that's always going to be visible. So what I recommend doing is having it like so. I'm just working on one layer at that time. And all you need to do is press playback. And as you can see, we're now cutting in between these 2 clips here. And again, if you want to add in a new clip, all you'll need to do is simply go back to our media drone. So we've got our drone section here, and we've got our B-roll. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in this plain video. Now this one's quite long, so I'm going to go for an in clip, find the bit that I want to add in. I'm going to choose around here, my out clip, and click, drag that over my timeline. And you can either make it longer or shorter after the fact. So this is just the bit that you're importing. You can make it longer or shorter by just simply dragging and dropping it over our timeline. Now I'm going to make each section of these about 5 seconds, just to make it easy, but I recommend doing it to some audio or some video, some music maybe, that might work quite nicely. Now all I'm going to do is make them all about the same length and drag them over. So as you can see, we have now imported some media and added it to our timeline. Now with Premiere Pro, you can also add in video transitions and effects. To add in a transition, for example, all you'll need to do is go over to the right-hand side where you can see it says effects. And as you can see, if you drop down, you've got video transitions. Now there are so many different ones to talk about. You've got zoom, wipe, slide, but to be honest, my favorite is just a simple dissolve transition. So all we need to do is go into the top, simply type in dis, and if you go down, you've got a bunch of dissolves. You've got cross dissolve, dip to black, dip to white. One that I recommend using is simply cross dissolve, where it will go from one video to another. It will kind of drop opacity between the two. So all you need to do is click, drag that over the video that you'd like to add the clip to, the transition to. So I'm going to go for these ones here and click drop. And if you zoom in, you can see we've now added a cross dissolve. So it'll go from clip A and then it will go to clip B. And as you can see, if I play it back, you can see it goes from one to the other. Now, if you want to control the speed of that transition, all you need to do is go to the transition itself and double click. It will open up with set transition duration, and you can see at the moment it's set to 1 second. But for example, you can have it 2 seconds or even 3 seconds or any second you like. I might do 2 seconds here. So if I go back, go ahead and click play by pressing spacebar, you can see it slowly transitions to the other. Now, there are a lot more to talk about. There are hundreds, I think, if not hundreds of thousands of transitions out there. So you'll just have to choose one that you like the most. And all you need to do is what I recommend doing. Just go into your effects, video transitions, and just go through every single one, see what one works for your style of editing. I like this one, but to be honest with you, you can go for a different one. So you could go for iris. So what I might do is for this one here, let's just try a random one. Let's go for iris diamond, for example. Let's drop that in and see what this looks like. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's an interesting one. I might not use that one in my videos, but it might work for yours. So yeah, give it a go and see if it works. Now, another thing you might want to do is to add in some text or some graphics to it. To do that, actually, all you'll need to do is go down to your text icon found in the bottom left-hand corner in your Essentials tool panel, and then go to the video and simply go ahead and click. As you can see, a graphic icon has now been added to our timeline. So what I recommend doing is just typing anything you like. So for example, this video was shot in Norway, so I might type in Norway, for example. So I've got that selected. All I need to do now is turn off our effects, go to Essential Graphics, and this is all the information now that you can change that type. So for example, you can change the font itself. So I might change this to Montserrat, for example. So I might change it to Montserrat Bold. I might center it. I might want to change it all into all caps. I might want to change the size, for example. And then maybe I want to align it into the center of my video. So I can go to my Align and Transform section. I might align it in the center and then align it horizontally and vertically as well, and maybe make it slightly larger. And I could go in, basically change the appearance, I could change the color, I could change the stroke, I could change the background, all from the Essentials graphic panel. And then if you want to go back, all you'll need to do is go to your selection icon, again, found in your Essentials tool panel here, and you can move it around. So for example, if we wanted to move it to our second slide or second video here, and then press play, you can see we can do that. And again, don't forget, you can add transition and effects to this individual clip. So for example, if I wanted to add it just to the center clip here, and I wanted to fade in and then fade out, what I would do is go to our effects. I'd go again, if I want it to fade in and fade out, I need to add in a cross dissolve. I'd go to my dissolve effects here. I go to my cross dissolve here, and I click drag and drop that over there, and I drag another one again. And as you can see now, if I press play, you can see it fades in, and then at the end of the clip, it will slowly and steadily fade out. So you can see you can add in transition and effects to both the video, but also video graphics like type, for example. And you can add in as much type as you like. You can also add in graphics. So if we go to our essential graphics without anything selected, if we go to the browse section, now do ignore some of these because these are some that I've made and previously imported. If we go almost to the bottom, you'll see these are the free ones that you get. So for example, these are a lot of the free ones. So you can actually drag and drop these. Of course, you can actually make your own. You can also import them. Most of these I got from Envato Elements. It's not a sponsor of this video. It's just I use Envato Elements a lot. You can actually drag and drop all sorts. And as you can see, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that I use. They're just quick ways of creating graphics. So what I recommend doing is downloading some that you like, maybe make your own as well. For example, if I click, drag and drop this over my timeline, maybe to this video here, you can see I've now got a lower third. So if I go ahead and click play, as you can see, we've got a lower third added in, and all I'll need to do to actually change this is to go to our edit section whilst our effect is selected, and you can see what we can do and what we can change in our panel and show our text panel there. So as you can see, it's really easy to add in effects and transitions as well as graphics and also type. Now, something else you can do is actually slow down and speed up your video, and you can actually do it to individual clips. So let's take this last clip here. If we go ahead and click play, you can see it's playing back at normal regular speed. But what happens if we want to make this particular section slow motion? Well, what we can do is make sure you've got it selected, right click on that video clip, and then you want to go to speed and duration. It will open up this clip here where you can change the speed as well as the duration of our clip. You can also reverse speed it as well. So let's say we want to turn this into slow motion. What I'll do is go to my speed here and drop this down to 50%. So we're turning this 5-second clip into a 10-second clip. And then what I recommend doing is go ahead and clicking OK. So now if we play it back, you can see that it's now played back in slow motion. And what's really nice is you can pretty much do it to any clip. Do bear in mind that if you do go too slow, you'll end up with odd framing issues where they're the frame rate that can't be depicted in the same way, so it might look jittery at all. I film everything at 50 frames a second and then interpret that at 25, so I can slow everything down by around 50%. You can also speed it up as well. So for example, so we've got our first clip here. This is kind of us driving. If I wanted to speed that up to make the car look like it's driving faster, what I can do is right click, go to speed and duration, and I might speed it up by 150%. So now if we play it back, you can see that it actually looks really, really fast. Now do bear in mind that it might add some weird kind of stabilization issues to that clip, but you can either speed it up or slow it down really easily. Now, another thing you might want to do is add in some audio, maybe add in some music or some sound effects to your video. And it's really simple. All you'll need to do is firstly import your audio to your main project window. So as you can see, my project window is in the top left-hand section here. So I've got my drone, B-roll, and as you can see, I've actually got an audio folder. If I go ahead and double click, you can see I've got 3 audio clips in here. I've got some music, I've got a plane noise and wind noise. So what I need to do, I want to add in some plane noise to this clip here. I want to go ahead and click, drag and drop that over. What I'm going to do is then, all I need to do is go to my playback window, click spacebar, and you can see it plays it back. Now what I'm going to do is turn on my sound so I can actually hear it. What I'm going to do is play it, and you can see there's a little bit of wind, there's actually a little bit of plane noise in there, and it adds a little bit more of immersion to your video. And then what you can do is overlay that with maybe some music or maybe some other sound effects as well. And of course, if you want to crop it down, because obviously we don't want plane noise over this section here, because that doesn't really make sense, there is no plane. All we need to do is actually use your razor tool. So I'm gonna go ahead and select it in our essential tools panel. Go ahead, cut it where you need it to, go to your selection tool here, and then go ahead and just simply delete that section there. So now that clip is only, or the audio is only appearing over the clip that we want to. Now, what you can do as well is you can single out that entire line, that entire audio clip, or for example, you can also mute that clip as well. And we can do that by basically turning it on and off on this section here, which is really helpful if you want to isolate certain sound effects. Now, a big part of Premiere Pro is actually color grading your videos and adding in certain color grading effects, especially modern cameras, which allow you to shoot in log. Even modern iPhones let you do that. Now, a log profile is basically a less saturated, flatter profile than standard or vivid, and it gives you more color grading potential in post-production, but you will need to learn how to color grade using either Premiere Pro or some other software. Now, to color grade, for example, this shot here, which is shot in Vlog, log, what you'll need to do firstly is to create an adjustment layer. So to do that, we want to go to a main project window. You've got these two little buttons here. This one's called new bin, which is basically a folder, but next to that, you've got new item. If you click on that, you can see we can either create a new sequence, but the one we want to do today is go ahead and create an adjustment layer. Now that adjustment layer, you want to make sure it's the same width and height of your original video, as well as the same frame rate. Then what you want to do is go ahead and click OK. With that adjustment layer, what I recommend doing firstly is right clicking on that adjustment layer, go down to rename, then I recommend just calling it color grading. So we always know that that actual file there is, that adjustment layer is always designed to color grade. Then all you need to do is click, drag and drop that over our timeline. Now adjustment layers are transparent. So if you drag it over another section of a video, it won't be visible because we haven't added any effects or anything to that particular adjustment layer. So currently it's 100% transparent, but this will then allow us to color grade and we can add in multiple layers. Think of adjustment layers and adjustment tools like this, very similar to Photoshop, working in layers, and you can level things up, maybe add a vignette to one layer and add a color grading effect to another. Of course, you can always do it to your native video file, which is the video file here, but sometimes you want to drag it longer or shorter than your original clip, which wouldn't be possible. So let's go ahead and color grade a completely separate clip. So let's go ahead to my drone icon here, and let's go to, I don't know, let's color grade this clip here. So what we'll do is double click on that clip. I just want to add in the section where we pass over the bridge. So I'm going to add in my in point here like previously, drag until that bridge is past us, go to about here, go to that out clip. I just want the actual video file here, so I'm just going to drag my video clip and drag and drop that over our timeline. Then what I can do is actually make or move our color grading panel or adjustment layer over our video clip here. So we can do it like so. Now what you want to do to start color grading is firstly go to your Lumetri color scope here. This is where you've got your basic correction as well as your creative section here, so you can add in LUTs as well as your curves, color wheel and HSL all the way down to vignetting. Now with that, you also want to open up your Lumetri scope as well. So if you've got your media browser section open, on the right hand side you should see a Lumetri scope. And this basically is a very fancy histogram where basically it will convey brightness over each individual channel. And as we all know, all colors are made up of red, green and blue. And against that, you can see you've got your brightness from 0% all the way up to 100% on the scale on the left-hand side here. So what you want to do is go over to your basic correction, simply go to your light section here, to your exposure. What you want to do is brighten that up slightly because it's shot a little bit too dark. We want to add in a little bit of contrast. Again, looking at our Lumetri scope, make sure we're not clipping any information at 100 or any information in 0. What I'm going to do is go to my brightness here and my highlights, brighten that up a little bit. Go to my shadows, bring that down a little bit. Go to my whites, bring that up a little bit, and my blacks. Now it's lacking a little bit of color, so what I recommend doing is go to our saturation slider here. I'm going to go ahead and add in some color there. I might add in around 130% saturation. Now I do want to make it look a little bit more blue. So what I can actually do is go to my temperature and tint section here. I'm going to go to my temperature. I'm going to make it a little bit more blue by sliding it over to the left by around about -5%. And as you can see, we've really quickly and easily color graded it. And what's really nice is if, for example, we like that color grade that we've done to that clip there, because we're working in adjustment layers, we can also click and drag that over that clip as well. So as you can see, we've now color graded both of these clips. Now, this clip here is probably a little bit too bright. So what we can do is go to the eraser tool. What we can do is go to that clip in the middle. We're going to go ahead and cut it. So we've now got 2 individual adjustment layers. And all we need to do is go to that adjustment layer here and simply drop down the exposure. But all the rest is pretty much okay. I'm happy with saturation. I'm happy with the tint. So instead of copying and pasting that all over, we can actually create 2 individual clips. And as you can see, we've quickly and easily color graded it. Now, what you can also do is add in LUTs. And what's nice is Premiere Pro have got some free LUTs available. So if you don't want to spend the time going into your exposure and contrast and changing it, you can actually use a LUT to speed up that editing process. So go out of your basic correction here, go to your creative section, go to where it says look, which is where you'll find your LUTs or lookup tables. and you can actually go to your, click on this drop down here, and you can see we've got a whole bunch of free ones available, and there is a lot to choose from. One that I quite actually like, so I go to this one called green and orange. You can see it adds a real strong effect to it. Now it might not work necessarily for this clip, but it may work for your clip. And if you're finding it is too strong, you can actually go to the intensity slider here, and we can drop that down to 0%, so we're not actually adding in that clip, or we can add in a little bit more. So for example, I might drop the intensity down to around 50%. And if we go ahead and press play, you can see we've got this nice, strong kind of blue color grade over this clip. And I must say it works really, really nicely. And then below that, you've also got your curves, which I'm not gonna go too much into in this video, but basically it's a way of brightening and adding in contrast, both to your overall brightness as well as your red channel, green channel and blue channel. I recommend maybe watching another video on that. And then also you've got your color wheel, which you can add in certain hues to both the shadows, midtones and highlights. Again, I'm not necessarily going to go over that in this video. And then lastly, you've got your HSL secondary and also vignetting. Vignetting is fairly simple, where you just basically darkens or brightens the kind of exterior of your clip. And of course, because we're adding this to an adjustment layer, we can actually do the before and after really easily. And as you can see, it looks really nice. But make sure that if you are ever color grading, make sure you've got your Lumetri scope open, so you're not clipping any of the highlight or any of the shadows. Now with all of that you've learned today, hopefully you can make a nice short video. And with the clips that I've got here, let me quickly show you a 30-second clip of everything that I've showed you today inside a quick video. Now, once you're happy with the overall edit, what you'll need to do now is actually export that video clip. And this is actually really easy. So all you'll need to do is, once you're happy with your overall timeline, so for example, although I haven't finished here, let's just say I want to go ahead and export it. All you'll need to do is go ahead and click Command M. And what this will do is it will open up your editing dialog box. Now this box will basically show you how you can save it as well as where you want to save it. So firstly, what do you want the file name to be? I'm just going to simply name mine Sequence 01. Then underneath that is the location of where you want it to be saved. So for example, I want mine to be saved on my desktop, but I recommend saving it in the same folder as your main project file. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Underneath that, you've got your presets, and this is how you want it to be exported. Do you want it to be exported in 1080p? Do you want it exported in 4K? We can control that through our presets here. So for example, I might choose high quality 4K, for example, but if you want to maybe change the format or anything like that, you can actually go into these drop downs here. You can change the video frame size, you can change the aspect ratio, you can even change the frame rate or field order, you can go into your audio settings, you can change that, basically you can change anything really, and have all of the effects here. But if you're brand new to Premiere Pro, I recommend just simply going to high quality and then just choose one of the drop downs here. You've got 1080p, 720p, 480, all the way up to 4K. I'd pretty much ignore the others as I don't ever really see you need to use them. And then lastly, all you need to do is go down to export and simply go ahead and click export. You can also open it up in Media Encoder as well if you wanted to encode it in a different way, because predominantly Premiere Pro saves them as MP4 files, as they're pretty much the most universally recognized. So you can upload it to YouTube or anything like that. But what I recommend doing is going ahead, clicking export, and you're pretty much done. Brilliant, and there we go guys. So there is my introductional video into Adobe Premiere Pro. But To be honest with you, we have barely scratched the surface of what this software can do. There's almost endless possibilities on color grading and also video transition. So if you'd like to learn more, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because we'll be making Premiere Pro tutorials as well as video tutorials every single week. I've been James for Video Fever, and I'll catch you guys next time.